Miss T.
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 Can't wait for you to meet Miss T. She is the T in T.
Okay, here's a fun one. Number 16, stay creative. So when people ask me, T, what's your staying power? We've watched you peak. We've watched you valley. We've watched you do some astronomical things. We've watched you survive when the whole world went into survival mode. How did you do it? Number 16 is you got to stay creative. Like there's no one way to do anything. There's 80,000 different ways to do the same one thing. And most people will box themselves into a way and then it doesn't work out because the climate of the world changes or because the temperature changes or because a person changes. You want to stay creative. And some of the ways that I practice creativity is I'm always doing something new. I always posture myself as a student. So I'll just give you a recent example. I'm writing a book, nearly done. It's pretty exciting and really hard at the same time. It's like, be vulnerable. You got to do it. But that's something new, is putting my heart, my life, my experiences on paper in a way that's going to cause me to be visible to the world, like all my secret stuff. That's really hard, but it forces me to be creative in a literary way. I don't document things on paper in a storytelling fashion. I give lists, I make instructions, I write visions, but telling my story in English words on paper, that's new. Stay creative. Another way is I have 45,000 square feet. I'm always building out the spaces in here. So for example, I have a hair and makeup shop. I have a DJ lab that has this wall, and the wall is made all out of jeans, like old jeans. There's like a bunch of old jeans, but now it's like a feature wall that everybody wants to take videos and pictures in front of. Creativity. Or I'll give you another one. We have, again, 45,000 square feet. We out there painting stuff and changing stuff. And imagine this humongous building and we out there painting and what color looks good, what feels right, or can we move this here? Can we adjust that there? Do we take this down or do we just put something around it? Creativity, constantly being creative. And then I keep myself around kids. I work with kids. I serve kids. I love kids. And I've been doing that for as long as I can remember. And one of the things kids will do for you is they'll ask one question that should make you curious and think, why? But why? But Miss T, how come? But why? You say, don't do that. Why? And these kids today, they're so smart. You can't get away with saying because I said so. They're like, yeah, that's not what Siri said. They want to know why. So it number one, it forces me to stay on my toes in that way. So I have an answer to their why, but it also keeps me in the mindset of, but why? Why do I have to do it like that? Because they did it like that? Oh, well, that's how it's always been done. Well, maybe there's a new way for me. So stay creative. It'll keep you young. It'll keep you growing. It'll keep you thriving. It'll keep you innovating. And it'll keep you postured in your business lane in a way that separates you from the pack and then gives you new products and services that you can monetize. So point number 16 or number 16 in 16 things that I didn't learn was I would have to stay creative all day, every day, no matter what. Okay, number 17, here's some hope for you, okay? Number 17, when I first started my company, and this is not just my company, as I'm also helping other people start their companies. One thing that I discovered is the first 2 years are the hardest years. If you can push through, thrive through, create through the first 2 years, the likelihood is that you will survive because of the newness of it, because of the shift in mentality and paradigm and thinking as a business owner, because of the testing of your products and your services and on market. The first 2 years is like the first 2 years you go to college for the first time. You're exploring things. You're going to all the parties. You have to learn disciplines. Otherwise, you won't pass your classes. Well, there's nobody to tell you no, stop, and don't. You got to figure it out. And those first 2 years is that window of time to do that. So what nobody told me was the first 2 years are the hardest years. I think I failed. I still practice the failure, not because I'm inept. I know there's a lot of ways where I could grow and change, but because it's just a part of the nature of things, especially as a business owner. But when I first started, I failed a lot, like a lot. And, I failed in ways where, you got to learn the language of business. You got to learn the language of money and the language of commerce. There's a whole language that I just didn't know. I just knew that I had an idea that people were paying for, and I wanted to take it seriously. So if you can just settle it in yourself and be okay with this part of your growth and learning process as a business owner, that the first 2 years are really hard. They're just really hard. And if you have a family and you're starting this company and you're getting into it, make sure you communicate with them like, this is going to be really challenging. It's going to be demanding. It's going to demand my time. It's going to demand my attention. Not that it's more important to you. You are important, but it's going to be a challenge for me. And then the hard part for me, it wasn't necessarily all the investment that I had to do. Sometimes it was like the person I became. I would get, the pressure would make me frustrated. It would make me roar. It would make me, it would give the impression that I'm a mean person because I had so much heavy on me. And sometimes I just didn't know what to do with it. And during that first 2 years, I learned myself. Like I learned myself as a business person, and I had to force myself to evolve. And I think that process happens in seasons, but the first 2 years was always the hardest. So I am suggesting that as you're writing down these tips and you're learning to understand that give yourself some grace, like in the first 2 years. It is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough on you. It's going to be tough on everything around you. And then give yourself some grace and understanding that it is evolving and growing you into another person, a business person. And sometimes that's really hard. Sometimes it's not the systems and structures that's hard. Sometimes it's you fighting against the old you to become the new you. So just, some hope is that if you can make it past that first 2 years, I promise you there's the likelihood, the higher probability that your business is going to make it. All right, number 18, you are going to have to wear so many hats. So one thing that they never told me is that I thought I was going to get in this thing and everybody was going to show up and help me. And I could hire people and it's going to be great. No, that didn't happen. I was the accountant. I was the teacher. I was the hiring director. I was HR. I was finance. I was the visionary. I was the CEO. I was the founder. I was people's moms. I was the janitor. I was the shopper. I was the budget person. I was the future planner. I was the strategic partner. I was so many things when I first started my company, and nobody told me. Like, I thought I was going to get into this, and all I had to do was teach the kids the classes. That's what I absolutely love. Like, what was hard for me is that when I didn't get to teach the classes because somebody was screaming at the front desk, paper wasn't filed, and I got a letter from the IRS. It's hard, doggone it. But when you're first starting your company, again, I'm here to tell you, you're going to have to wear a lot of hats. And I would offer some reasoning behind that is because when I first started, I built what I built from like absolutely nothing. I didn't have investors or partners because I didn't want to start my business in debt. And so that meant, there's a lot of hiring I couldn't do until I built the revenue to be able to do that. So again, graphic artist, marketing, advertising. But the beauty of that, let me give you the beauty of that, is that now I have a great team and I have multiple sites and I travel a great deal and I offer my services and our products across the country all the time. And the reason I can do that is because I have a great team. But my team, there's no one on my team that's doing something that I've never done. And so it gave me the ability to help each department and each individual in each department bring a level of excellence because I'm learned in it. So again, when you first start your company, you're going to have to wear a bunch of hats. But again, there's benefit in that because it should help you build an awesome team from experience rather than, just a model or some book knowledge. And I think that's the best way. I think that the best way is to to build a team because you've already done the things that you're requiring of them. Because all that means is you can build a stronger team because you know what you're looking for in an individual and you know what you're looking for in outcomes from that individual. So don't be afraid to put on new hats. Don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to get in there and try different things. I remember going back to college just so I can learn how to be a better photographer, to be a better videographer. I work with kids that are deaf and hard of hearing. I went back to school just so I can learn sign language so I can teach them too. So if you got to posture yourself as the educated individual, the person that's seeking knowledge and training just so that you can be agile and wear these different hats, that's not bad. That's good. So if you can, toss out the idea that you don't have this huge dream team in the very beginning, that's okay. The dream team is you. Wear all the hats, do what you gotta do all the learning you can. Because I promise you, all that does is offer you survival and thriving and sustainability and growth potential in your company because it has a leader who knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way. All right, number 19. Now this one's dangerous. And this one you'll have to fight every day. It never goes away. Number 19, especially when you're starting your business, it is so easy to get distracted. You want to write that one down. Distractions destroy. And I teach that as much as I can. It's really hard in the beginning to maintain a laser focus because you're learning so much, you're growing something new, and you're doing something new, and you, the individual, is becoming something new. And what often happens is, I'll be darned if the situations and people don't come out of the woodworks just to get you off course. Distractions destroy. And so what you want to decide, like right now, is I will maintain focus on the vision. People come to me and they say, oh, I have an idea and I have this and I have that. And if I'm not careful, because I'm such a doer, I will act on that idea. But acting on that idea takes me away from the target, the goal, the focus, or even the authenticity of my product. Like I can do this, but does this align with my cultural equity and what I'm drawing from to build what I build? So just remember, you want to build your systems and structures so that distraction doesn't become a destructive force for you. And sometimes we can get so busy and so pulled in 80 different directions. Like, you want to distract me? I'm not trying to give nobody no ammunition, but one of the ways in the past for sure is you shove a kid in my face who needs help. I will stop everything I'm doing and serve that baby. And then sometimes, it works. And then sometimes those little God blessers go back and do the same thing that they was doing before. They just wanted your attention, which was in the form of a distraction. So I had to build the system so that we can, yes, serve my kids, because that's critically important to me. But measure the situation in a way that causes me to maintain focus and serve them at the same time, or build the team or build the system so that they can receive the service. And it doesn't mean that I have to stop and land the Learjet just to, help the baby and then get back on the Learjet and get everybody off the ground again. That's even more hard. So just, again, I'm telling you in the beginning, if you're starting this thing out, I'm telling you in the beginning, it's easy to get distracted. You want to build the systems, the structures, the discipline to lock and load with focus no matter what. And when distraction presents itself, have a plan. Have a plan like, crap, I got off course. How do I get back on course when I get off course? Have a plan for that, because it's going to happen. It just is. And then sometimes people come intentionally to distract you. Oh, God bless it. So, if you're like me and your business is around service and people, love the people. I'm not saying, be cold and be distant. I'm not saying that at all, because that's not what I do. But I am trying to give you a bit of a warning. It's easy to get distracted. So again, make sure that you recognize it when it comes. Make sure you're very clear about what you're focused on. Keep lists, keep vision boards, keep things, keep you locked and loaded, and visit those things regularly. And then have a contingency plan. So when you get off course, you can get back on course. But number 19 is, it's easy to get distracted. Number 20. Woo! Woo! Sometimes good help is hard to find. Nobody told me that. And so I would hire people. And then, there are people that they are individuals that were good-hearted and well-meaning, but they weren't the right help. They weren't the right help for this situation. And so I almost said wasted. I almost said I'm wasted, but I don't want to say that because I'm talking about people and I'm weird when it comes to helping and loving people. But I've spent a lot of money hiring people, employing people, contracting people that just weren't good help. Good-hearted, but not good help. Good intentioned, but not good help. And so if you're like me and you have a weak spot when it comes to people, I've hired more people to train them than I have people that actually help me. I'm more of the helper. And so what I've had to build in my company and in my team is, definitely systems and structures in the form of what we call SOPs, standard operating procedures. So there's operating procedures. And this is one, how you do the job, but this is also how we measure the success of you doing the job. And everybody is accountable for getting the successes in their lane. And I measure everything. And so what you want to do is you want to build that into your system of things in the beginning, because as you're hiring help, you want to make sure that you're getting the help, or even if it's in the form of volunteers. I would get volunteers, people that just love to help out. But sometimes we put them on projects that we'd have to completely redo again because it's volunteering, but it's not good help. So when I say good help is hard to find, I mean, I've done more training of people, even people with degrees, because of the uniqueness of what I do. You could be highly educated and still not have the experience required to do what we do. And because there's so much creativity and innovation in what we've built and building, that it forces you to be agile. So, finding the right help has always been a bit of a challenge. And I've had to groom the right help interiorly, like get them in and make sure they have a heart for this, and then help them become who we need them to be in the position and role. So, if I could make you aware of anything, number 20, I'm giving you number 20. Sometimes good help is hard to find. And then if you're like me and you work with young people, young adults, you got to remember, these are very heady kids. They've grown up in the information age. And so they're very smart here. They have a lot of information here. But when you ask something commonsensical, and common sense is not common anymore, so maybe I should use a different word. But when you do things, when you ask for a thing, or you have some level of expectation for something that leans simple to me, I've just learned to realize it is not simple to them. They are wicked smart and super brilliant, but sometimes that's not helpful. So I'm giving you a heads up, because if you're starting your company now, that's going to be your workforce. So you're dealing with people that are very informed, but they may not have the experience that failure offers, or that living in survival mode offers, or that just being aware, situationally aware because of how you developed in an environment. They may not have that. And so you want to learn to capitalize on what you can, but be very clear about what you're looking for, and know that sometimes, point number 20, good help, the right help, is really hard to find. You may have to develop the person, and that's okay. You got this. All right, that's number 20.